This is update for June 29, 2022, day 126 of the war, end of the date update. So first, I would like to actually address one sort of problem that we observing, and this is related to paid sort of advertising or sponsor that we showed yesterday, and there was a lot of negative backlash from some of the viewers. We wouldn't say a lot, but there was some negative backlash, and we feel that it's probably we need to explain so it's very clear and sort of very transparent. We are independent. We don't push Russian propaganda. We don't push Ukrainian propaganda or whatever propaganda. In order to remain independent, you need to receive some financial support or money, or and the typical way to do that is to monetize through advertising. Hopefully that's not a sort of rocket science. There's nothing new here. It's very simple. It helps us to exist, right? Because we don't accept sort of dependent situation. So it's either we exist and independent or we die. So it's a very sort of binary situation in our case, the way we approach, the way we see the world. So what it does, it really helps us to remain independent and being able to do research, provide information for our viewers. And that's our goal, and we try to remain always as objective as possible, right? So hopefully this addresses this questions that some viewers have. Not to mention, actually, related is that channel anyways monetized, right? It's just when you have direct sponsor, it's actually basically more beneficial, right? So you cut the middleman, you get paid more by the direct advertiser, right? Because essentially Google is intermediary, right? That stands between the creator of the news and their advertisers, right? So all that's all it is. There was no difference. We have been sort of monetizing this channel from the very beginning. So hopefully this explains, and you understand why we're doing and why it actually matters, and why really it couldn't exist any other way. Because free cheese only in a mousetrap, right? So otherwise, if you see the sort of outlets that give you everything for free, it's probably not free, really. There is a hook down there. So hopefully this explains that situation, and those who sort of were wondering what's going on, they understand. We understand that some of the viewers will never understand it, and we accept it, and that's just part of the life. So now let's actually move to discussion of the strategic situation, and now we're actually going to discuss Ukraine and Ukrainian government, and how incompetent, inept, and disastrous it is for the country. So what was happening is the prices for the grain that's paid by wholesalers fell by 31% over months since end of May till end of June, right? So that's obviously difficult, makes it less profitable for the farmers, and sort of to produce grain, and fewer incentives, right? So, and the reason for that is sort of objective. There is war. Russia is blocking Ukrainian ports, so Ukraine cannot export through the ports, and that's the only way the grain needs to be exported, because it's low value add product. So then you really need to use cheap transportation, such as railroad, and then the ships, right? So that's the ships are cheapest way to transport any goods on this planet. So that's why Ukrainian farmers or wholesalers, they buy it up from the farmers, and then they bring it to this southern ports in Ukraine, Kherson, Mykolaiv, Odessa, also was in Mariupol, and so then Ukraine exports from there, and everybody was sort of happy, right? So the customer in the world were happy, and farmers were happy, and wholesalers were happy. Everybody was earning money in this whole situation, because in Ukraine the production of grain is not subsidized by government, right? So it's just effectively it's like a competitive market, like normal situation, where it's so as a result, because now the transportation leg becoming more sort of longer, more difficult, the prices that wholesalers can pay to Ukrainian farmers went down, right? So that's why you see this 31% down, because now the ports are blocked. You need to transport by railroad, and it's more sort of longer through different countries. So it's okay. Everybody understands, sort of understands it's a war. The problem with sort of Ukrainian government, what it does, then it's like, okay, let's increase cost of railroad transportation to everyone. Doesn't, like, not just for the farmers, but literally everyone, all of the economy, by 70% essentially overnight from July 1st. So this is obviously the economy that's already effectively dead. You really, kicking it even more into the death spiral, right? So what this really means that the Ukrainian government wants to extract that small remaining profit that farmers have, to itself, right? So that's, which is totally insane, and will lead to even worse situation. What this really means is, even those who planted this season, right? So which essentially ends in July, for the next year, many people will sort of hesitate, will not plant, or plant less, because they see the war, the ports are blocked, and essentially you have all of your profit is taken either by blocked ports, or by Ukrainian railways, which are extension of Ukrainian governments, because they owned by Ukrainian government, right? So the government is actually creating incentive not to produce, and that really can lead, not this year but the next year, to some kind of famine, and that will be not just like shortage and it's tight and it's difficult, but it's gonna like literally be famine. It will hit obviously disproportionately different sort of demographics, different places on this planet, but this is this is how it's happening, right? And then everybody will be wondering, oh, what happened? How did it happen? And it's very simple things like that. The desire to extract all of the profit from the farmers will obviously lead to the farmers not willing to plant. The same what was happening with Ukrainian gasoline and diesel fuel, right? The same story repeats, where the government similar, right? So this is kind of like neo-communism essentially that they practice. That's where they set the price for gasoline and diesel fuel, and which is below the market obviously, and then nobody will bring the fuel into the country. So the country is still sort of going through all of these shortages of gasoline and diesel fuel. It's a little bit better because the prices actually went up to reflect more sort of market situation, but they still managed by the government, and they were forced by objective situation that literally everything collapses, and literally even the army doesn't have diesel fuel. So they kind of were forced to sort of stop their insane behavior, but they didn't change inside. They, as soon as there is opportunity returns, they will repeat the same thing. This is actually in a contrast to Russian government, which is actually much more pro-market, much more common sense, and tries to increase degrees of freedom in the economy to let it sort of breathe and survive. So this is actually where, in our opinion, this Ukrainian government is total disgrace, and and essentially a huge problem that's undermining country's ability to defend itself. So so this is just a short sort of review what's going on, why we may see even higher food prices and literally like sort of strong shortages of many things. Not like this season, but essentially that really means sometime, basically next year, next summer. So now let's discuss a few more things economy-wise, because as we mentioned many times, economy is the basis for the war. No economy, no war. So now let's switch to Russia. The electricity demand and use fell there by 5%, which is quite significant given, for Russia. Then car manufacturing essentially ground to complete hold in May. We mentioned that there were a lot of problems and many plants were stopping. So we would say May is when essentially Russian car manufacturing has died effectively, because they made only, I think, like 3.7 cars in entire May, which is, you can imagine it's drop, it's nothing, right? Because if you include January through May, the total the total volume was about 260 or 268 cars. So you can imagine then, if you made only 3.7 out of 268 in May, that probably typical volume per month is about 60-80 thousand cars. So essentially that's that. In terms of trucks, the decline is not as strong. It's about 40%. And trucks, obviously, they are basis for the economy because they transport all of the goods. They sort of last mile delivery of everything. So economy is still functioning, but it also tells us that economy is the like real economies that actually brings goods and manufactures goods. Is probably down close to 40%, right? So in Russia. So based on this, you can even infer that GDP will probably, by the end of the year, will fall in Russia by about 40%. And Ukrainian GDP is essentially, it's not even worth talking because it's close to zero, right? Because, the war, the subjective sort of factor that affects everything, but then as we mentioned, completely devastating actions of Ukrainian government, destroy economy. Like they put sort of lid on semi-dead Ukrainian economy, essentially. Atlas VPN. So what is VPN? VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. It's an encrypted tunnel between two devices that lets you access every website and online service privately and securely. Atlas VPN is not only protecting your identity. First, it protects you from price gouging by companies. You may not be aware, but many online services charge different prices based on your geographic location. The most notorious at price discrimination are airlines, hotel booking services. Second, many businesses such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and government entities have geo-restrictions. With Atlas VPN, you can bypass those geo-restrictions by choosing to connect to the server in the country you need. I personally use Atlas VPN to do research for the videos you watch in that way. Right now, Atlas VPN is running a huge discount. You can get 3-year subscription for just $199 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Time is running out, so get your deal by clicking the link in the video description below. Finally, Atlas VPN is blazingly fast and protects all of your devices with a single subscription. Get the best VPN deal in the market. Enjoy the most affordable online protection for just $199 per month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Usual walks through the front line in a clockwise fashion, starting from the very north. So again, as always, there is artillery shelling along the border. Nothing new here. Now let's move to Kharkiv. Situation here is again sort of similar, the same, fighting for this buffer. Russian troops are putting more pressure because, as we mentioned, Ukrainian command withdrew all troops they could without sort of putting Kharkiv in danger, to Lysychansk area, to sort of call it Popasna area, to where the fighting is going on. And now let's actually start slowly moving there. Let's look what's going on in Izyum bridgehead. Here, essentially the same situation. Russian attacks directed at Krasnopilya and Dolyna. There are two villages, essentially one village. No success here. And the reason is that Russian troops don't have critical mass here to kind of ram through Ukrainian defenses. Now let's actually move to Lysychansk salient, and situation there gets sort of worse by day. So now you can see like sort of recent gains by Russian troops. So they fully control all refinery territory here, and then they started sort of initiated fighting in the village west of it. It's called Verkhnyokamyanka, sorry, because there are two similar ones. There is Verkhnyokamyanska here, and then Verkhnyokamyanka sort of next to it. So that's and then there another sort of, well, I guess at this point it doesn't matter, less dangerous advance is Russian troops started advancing sort of on outskirts of the Lysychansk, starting from kind of like from the west. This obviously creates opportunity of creating even like sort of smaller pocket here, but the question is obviously about this larger pocket. At this point, from our understanding, Ukrainian command is trying to pull out the troops because there is no other option left here. This advance here around the refinery kind of like put the final nail in the coffin of any kind of chance of holding on to this territory, and Ukrainian troops need to withdraw as soon as possible. Based on from our understanding and even observations from the Russian side, they see that Ukrainian command is pulling out troops as much as they can right now, and the whole effort is being put on holding through this like a bottleneck, so it doesn't get cut, right? So creating, basically keeping this corridor here for as long as possible to pull out all of these troops to the west, right, and sort of create the new defensive line somewhere. At this point, it's we can sort of speculate a lot, but the best one would have been actually sort of around here before this breach here. Then Ukrainian troops could have created defensive line here along this road, because this road actually provides good defensive position. It's kind of like embankment, right? And then you kind of like hide from the artillery shelling on the other side of embankment, and because of the trajectory of artillery shells, which was showed sometime very long time ago, that how the artillery sort of shells sort of fly and hit, it's extremely difficult, nearly impossible to sort of destroy the sort of Ukrainian soldiers on the other side, right? So you would need just to use more like a mortar that has a very steep trajectory, and that's why they used in general. That's their job, their role, but they are less powerful. They are fewer in quantity, and they need to be really close to the front line, literally almost with the troops, and that's just it's not the same basically by any means. So this road was and is good natural sort of defensive barrier that could have allowed Ukrainian troops to kind of continue holding this if they managed to sort of withdraw here, create build sort of defensive position here. But unfortunately, this road essentially was kind of breached at Verkhnyokamyanka here, and what that really means that Russian troops don't really need to do frontal attacks in this area, which is where they were hitting very hard. but they were not successful, right? So that's why, if you remember, they were always attacking Bilohorivka, Berestova here, Yakovlivka, and they were never successful because the backbone of the defense is actually this road, and actually really embankment on which the road sits, that the other sort of slope provides very good defensive position, right? So now this was kind of breaching this area, and at this point they just kind of can drive sort of south and effectively force withdrawal from this good defensive position. And as we mentioned before, the problem with the sort of geography here, not a problem, but just sort of how geography is like, if you look at this kind of line, this is kind of like a valley here, right? So this is kind of like a sort of call it, well, it's hills, right? It's a line of the hills here, and this is another line of the hills, sort of tops of the hills, right? So kind of like two ridges, I guess that's probably the right way. So if you don't hold this ridge, then really the next sort of decent position is actually on this side right here, because here you're going to be in a valley, and with the Russian advantage in artillery, you're going to be easily shelled and destroyed by artillery fire, because the forward artillery, because basically from, well, not even forward artillery observation points, but even from Arlan 10, you basically extremely visible, right? Because Russian infantry and everything, they're gonna look at you down the hill, so you have it's perfect visibility, and you're just gonna be destroyed here. So given that Ukrainian situation with artillery, and actually partially is actually not ability to use effectively what the tools that Ukraine has. So that really leaves probably no ability to really successfully defend in this valley. And this probably will require to move to this ridge here, essentially. So basically, if Ukrainian troops don't hold here, then the sort of next stop is probably going to be somewhere here. I mean, we're sure that they will try to hold here, even from political reasons, because then it really, like, if they don't hold here, then it really means that Ukrainian side will also lose this town Bakhmut, which is, from political perspective, is not gonna be great inside of the country. But at this point, sort of political considerations shouldn't be sort of playing any role, because at this point it's about sort of, actually fighting and surviving. But going back actually to artillery situation, at this point Ukraine has a pretty good artillery fist, specifically modern artillery, that has strong advantage over Russian artillery. So Ukraine has 18 Crabs, those self-propelled howitzers from Poland. Then Ukraine will have very soon 18 Panzerhaubitze 2000, meaning Ukraine has 12 right now, but it will get 6 more very shortly. And then Ukraine has 18 Caesars from France, and then plus all of this HIMARSes, which we lost the track, but it sounds like it's probably going to be like around 15 units there. So there is a very strong fist that Ukraine potentially could use to even, for example, to stop this offensive, right? That though this number of these units is not enough to sort of wage the war across the entire front line, which is about like 1,300 kilometers, so plus minus maybe 14, something like that, could be even 15. So it's huge, right? So it's not enough to for the entire front line, but you can create concentration, and you can create sort of local advantage on a very short stretch of the front line where exactly Russian troops are attacking, right? So like, for example, if Ukrainian command would use them wisely, they would sort of not concentrate. By that, it doesn't mean that they stand next to each other. That's not what I mean. What we mean is that they being used in a focused way in this area and to stop this attack, right? Because the big advantage in this situation for Ukrainian side is that the Russian command is very predictable, right? So they attacking, they able to create advantage only on a short section of the front line in a specific area, and they just keep hitting in the same area, like day after day. We see this small gains, small, like village today, yesterday, tomorrow. So it's the same area, right? So it's very predictable. So that really means that you know where to keep your assets and how and when to deploy them, right? You don't need to guess, oh, they're gonna attack somewhere else, let's say by near Kharkiv or in Kherson or in Zaporizhia, where you wouldn't be able to maneuver them in time. But here, it's everything is kind of like laid out. You really don't need to guess about the sort of moves of the Russian command. The problem is even sort of, for example, with this new equipment, that there's still no proper organizational structure similar to Russian, where you have UAV embedded with this unit, right? So there is also a lot of bureaucracy, like you need like approval from the higher command to shoot at the target. So it's totally bureaucratically red taped. And the organizationally is not properly organized. Not to mention that Ukraine still does not have enough of this equivalence of Orlan 10, which is cheap, easy to manufacture. There is no rocket science. It's very primitive, but it's perfect for the job. And there is no even movement to address that need. Instead, Ukrainian Minister of Defense is buying Bayraktars, which are, in our opinion, completely not completely useless, but they're sort of overhyped, over-exaggerated their efficiency. It's definitely not what this war needs, and they perfect for this kind of like sort of propaganda pictures. How Bayraktar destroys one tank, and that's wonderful, but the cost of it is huge. The cost of the rocket is huge. So the efficiency is not there, and it destroys, let's say, 1 unit or 2 units, but Russia has a lot. So you really need a very different tool. The Bayraktars, all of this sort of attack UAVs, they were really designed for the low intensity war. They totally sort of not what is really needed on the front line. This is very different war. This, as we discussed many times, this war is really more like World War II, World War I, where it's a high intensity war. So call it like normal war, right? And all of this attack UAVs they sort of play some role, but they're not really sort of something that's gonna move this war in one direction or another. And giving the huge cost, they're not cheap. Just so like for the viewers understand, they're very expensive. The cost benefit is just not there for them. Let's put at least for the mass scale. So sorry to get distracted. Hopefully it kind of gives a little bit more color about the situation here, because what's gonna happen next is that Russia will continue to hammer, right? So the hammer, Ukrainian troops withdrew. Let's say they established front line here. Russian side will continue hammer, and basically that's what we said many times. There's no strategic answer to this from Ukrainian command, and that's where the plural problem is, right? Because that really means that this is not going to be stopped. Okay, it's very slow motion kind of train, but it does move, and Ukrainian command needs to change, needs to develop new strategy to be able to withstand this, right? And for Russian side, it works because Russia has huge advantage in resources, in any resources, right? Right now they have sort of shortage of the manpower, but eventually, if they would like to do the mobilization, they will address that. That won't be a problem at all, and that they will have huge advantage in the manpower over Ukraine as well. So, this whole situation is very, let's say, concerning for Ukrainian side, because the Russian command figured out a way, or sort of figured out a system or machine, how to slowly but surely break Ukrainian defenses, right? And and there is no answer from Ukrainian side to that for now. Okay, let's continue. Let's look at what's going on in the southern section. Oh, actually, this is a little bit more closer, kind of zoomed in map for this advances that we discussed here. So this is what's going on. This is this oil refinery here, Lysychansk oil refinery. So Russian troops took full control of it, and they started advancing, and they initiated fighting in this village Verkhnyokamyanka, essentially here. Right, and this is the only kind of like main road to withdraw from here. As you can see here, it's under artillery fire. So essentially, the way to withdraw is through the field roads. And then Russian troops started move from west to east. Right, so they attacking along this Zhotneva street, which by itself can create potential pocket in this area if Ukrainian troops don't withdraw in time. This is just kind of quickly just to show how this whole collapse is happening in pretty quick motion. So this was only on 25th. This would happen on 26th, small dance as we discussed, and then huge blow on 27th. There was a pause on 28th, and then we show this sort of small advances here on 29th today, right? So and then here as well, but this is enough to create really at this situation where it's like, okay, you cannot stay in Lysychansk area. So now let's actually look a little bit more in the southern sort of section of this of the Popasna salient. So the Wagner mercenaries made some progress in Klinovo. They effectively squeezed out Ukrainian troops from it. The Ukrainian troops literally on outskirts of it, on the western and northern of it, outskirts of it, but they were effectively squeezed out from the village. Then they also tried to attack here in the southwestern direction, obviously for obvious reason, to either trap Ukrainian troops in this small pocket or force withdrawal. But they did not succeed here. Now let's move south. Let's see what's going on west of Donetsk. As a heads up, situation here is on hold. Just artillery shelling, reconnaissance action. Nothing really sort of earth moving here at all. For obvious reasons, and the same situation here in Zaporizhia, on the Zaporizhia front line, because all of their sort of resources from both sides are pulled into that Lysychansk, Popasna, well, call it Popasna area or Bakhmut area, whichever you prefer to call. And the same is happening on the Kherson bridgehead. So everything is on hold, just artillery shelling, small scale action, mostly reconnaissance action, just small tiny skirmishes, but nothing really major going on. Thanks for watching, and until tomorrow, bye bye.